Hi YouTube, it's June 19th, Juneteenth. If you don't know what that is, look it up, although I'd be surprised if you don't know what that is by now, unless you were living under a rock. And I wanted to talk about something that my friend asked me, or rather pointed out to me, and when I asked him why he's not on Facebook anymore. No, it doesn't have anything to do with Mark Zuckerberg or anything that they've done specifically, but it's about, I guess, what he's seeing that he is calling out as performative allyship. And then my girlfriend and I were talking about Christianity, and we were on the subject of the Lord's Prayer, which again, I'm sure everybody's heard of it, but there's some background about it that I wanted to share with you that kind of relates to the concept of performative allyship, because I'm not going to go into that per se too much on this video. But I mean, if you don't know what that means, one way that people put it is people who are seeking activist cookies, or in other words, a pat on the back, or in other words, it's another way that people put it is virtue signaling, I guess. I don't know many people that kind of use that term, but some people do. But you know what I mean. It's people who pretty much, they want to look good, they want to be popular, they want people to think that they're a good person, but maybe they don't really mean it in their heart. Or what can also be more harmful sometimes is maybe they don't really know what they're talking about, and they're trying to do something helpful, but sometimes people get these really weird ideas, like they think it's helpful to wear blackface because they don't know the history of blackface in this country, and there are influencers online who are wearing blackface because they think it's helping, and so sometimes you call them out and then they get defensive, and it shows that they're really not coming from the right place, a place of growth and understanding and listening to know what the right thing to do is. So to bring it back to our discussion on the Lord's Prayer, when Jesus taught his disciples the Lord's Prayer, he was actually not just teaching them a prayer, a single prayer, a literal, prayer with a certain number of, stanzas or lines, but he was actually teaching them a way to pray sincerely is to do so in private, and not to stand on the street corner where you will be, in other words, caught praying, because there are passersby, and of course you're in a public place where people are going to see you doing the right thing, in terms of religion. But are you doing it behind closed doors, and are you doing it sincerely? Because the prayer that you do in your own room is the one you really mean, and the one that you do so that everybody can see it on purpose because you want people to see it is not the same, and it doesn't have value. In some ways it's actually kind of offensive to pray that way. And this is not me saying this or interpreting it. This is literally, what Jesus was teaching his followers when he taught about the Lord's Prayer. So anyhow, I would like those people who may have been some of the ones who had this performative allyship going on to think about that. The more sincere thing to be doing is listening to Black folks and people of color, and learning, instead of just jumping in there and sharing every little article and doing everything that's a trend right now when you don't necessarily know the history of what you're talking about. So that's kind of my takeaway from this idea of performative allyship and what Jesus taught about the Lord's Prayer, even though I'm not a religious person, but I study religion in a scholarly sense. So thanks for listening.